Okay, let's go.
John Boyle, want to start us?
Yep. Pete, there's a stat out about you guys since 2012, like Russ and Bobby's rookie year, the record coming off a loss. What do you kind of attribute that to? Both maybe Russ's play really stands out in those games, but just team-wise of bouncing back from losses.
Yeah, I think there's two reasons. There's Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner. Those guys have been here all that time. They've been the leaders and focal point guys, and they've been the consistent thread that runs throughout it. And we have a way and all that, and those guys they fortify the message and make sure that it's there. But it's their leadership. I feel that we've been fortunate to have those guys.
Corbin?
Hey, Pete, how's D. Eskridge doing in his recovery? Obviously, he's been ruled out for Sunday. Is there any concern about him missing time beyond this weekend?
We'll talk about it next week. I don't have anything to update you on, and we'll know more by Wednesday or so next week. Hoping that he'd be on his way back.
Greg?
Pete, there's a report today that the NFL is going to reinstate Josh Gordon. Do you have any interest in bringing him back? He really, of course, loved it here, and you guys seem to have a place for him.
Well, I'm not going to say much about that. I haven't heard all that yet. But I've always thought a lot of Josh and had a feeling for him. He's been a local kid as well. He's been around the area and stuff, and we'll see what happens. But he's been, just like everybody deserves another chance, and hopefully, if that's what's going on, that'd be great for him.
When you released him this spring to go play in that fan-controlled league, did you talk at all about the possibility of coming back, or did he mention how much he'd want to play back here?
Yeah, Greg, I've never not talked about that with Josh.
Right.
I've always been on that topic for him, so I'm sorry I don't have enough information to say much of anything at this point, but I've always felt that way, and so we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Bob?
Yeah, Pete, is Brandon Shell's situation just kind of a one-game thing you're hoping, or?
Hope so. Yeah, hope it's just it's a 1 week situation with his ankle. We won't know again till late next week.
And Jamarco Jones, I guess how have you felt about his play? If he has to step in and do that.
Jamarco's always done well when he stepped in and played a number of spots for us. The versatility has really made him valuable to us. He's really smart. He knows the system really well, and he's really accountable. So he'll do a nice job for us.
Brady?
Yeah, just running down the list. How's Benson doing? I know you haven't listed as questionable.
Yeah, that's exactly what I could say. He's questionable. We've got to wait and see.
Chris?
Yeah. Hey, Coach. Chris Thomas in Pioneer Press. Got a couple questions. Wanted to ask you about your Vikings tenure from 1985 to 1990. How did that kind of shape you as a football coach, those years you spent with Minnesota?
Those years were really important because I'd only had 1 year prior to that in the NFL. And so I was so fortunate to wind up with that staff and guys that have been around the league forever. I was one of the young pups on the staff, and those guys kind of looked after me and really on both sides of the ball. Bernsey and John Michaels, all those guys were so good. Bob Holloway, all those guys were just kind of looked after me, and so it kind of raised me up in the league. And they had such long-standing beliefs and philosophy and approach, in Bud's program, that it was really a great place to start.
What was it like being hired by a legend like Bud Grant and having a chance to coach under him for a year?
It's one of my favorite stories. It's too long to share it with you right now, but it's really one of my favorite stories that happened in coaching. Bud found me. I don't know how he did it, because I had got fired after my first year in the league, which has always been kind of the curse, that you'll never get back. Once you're in and bounced out. But I was like the last guy in the league hired and all of that, late in the spring. So it meant the world to me. And to really be on his first staff when he came back, and to get things going again was really really something I really cherish.
And as a final thing, I know you talked last year about how they almost made your replacement quarterback in 1987. Other than that one, though, you got any good stories or anecdotes you'd like to recount from your Vikings years?
I was telling the story the other day about my first year back with Bud. I believe it was the first game back, and we were playing the Niners at our place. I think it was opening game of the year. And the night before the game, Bud said, these guys they were world champs, and they had a lot of games that were really easy, and they won by 2 touchdowns a bunch of times. They have not been in a lot of tight games. He said, coming back, if we can keep this game close, getting into the fourth quarter, it could be tough on them. They might pressure them up. And so, sure enough, we're in the game. They're putting up yards like crazy, but we're in the game. And we scored, I think, to put us close enough to have a chance. I can't remember the score altogether, but Bud stepped in the huddle for the kickoff team after we scored. And he told the kickoff team, kick it to number 26. And kick it to number 26, he's going to fumble. And sure enough, we kick the ball off, and it goes right to 26, and he comes running back, and that ball comes frickin' flying out, back to about the 40-yard line. Our guys jump all over it and go crazy, and all the guys were in the huddle. I happened to be on the headset, so I heard them say it. We're just like, they were just in disbelief because he just called his shot, and we went on to win. The way I remember it, we went on to win the game, and that was my first time out with Bud, and so there was other things that happened that were similar, but that was one of the most dramatic ones that he called, and just showed his expertise and whatever, the special nature that he brought to the game. So it was really impressive.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bob Condotta, Seattle Times.
Yeah, sorry, one more injury thing. But with Rashad Penny, I mean, you're hoping he'll be back next week, or is he making progress? Or?
Yes, we're hoping next week.
Curtis.
Yeah, how did Brian Monet make it through the week, and how much did you miss him in retrospect, looking back to last week, and how big a piece for you?
There's no doubt that we missed him last week. He's such a load in the middle. He played so well early, been really so consistent for us. We did miss him last week. I'm thrilled to tell you that he is playing, and he'll be ready to go. And he's just one of the heart and soul guys in the program, and everybody's favorite. And he plays so darn hard and all that he'll be a great boost to us. He'll help Al and Pune inside, and keep the rotation alive like we started the season. And hopefully we'll get to see a good deal of him and a good rotation with that.
Brady.
Well, I was going to ask what Curtis just said. I'll pivot.
So?
On the Bud story, how did he know that the guy's going to fumble?
He's Bud. Bud Grant, man, he knew. I don't know how he knew. But people that see things before they happen, they're usually pretty special. That's not the only thing he did like that. So, but that was one of the really clear ones.
Thanks, Brady. Last question, Michael Sean Dugard.
Hey, Pete, how much can you tell us about what's going on with Coach Curtis?
Well, he's dealing with a non-COVID related situation here, and he just had to get looked at and needed a couple days to make sure that he was in good shape and okay. He sounds great and sounds fine. He'll be back with us on Monday. I'm keeping it at that, if it's okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, good. See you there.